Today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
A day dedicated to telling the truth could be the turning point in this ongoing saga. I am 100% certain that the charges against me are completely false. Hopefully, as time passes, the ongoing investigation will shed light on the situation, and I encourage anyone with relevant information to come forward quickly. The scene begins with a sense of urgency. Rumors of a dramatic late-night raid at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, are spreading fast. Sean Diddy Combs, once a titan of the music industry.
That's where Diddy has been for months now, but last week he was taken to the hospital. According to reports from the New York Post, Diddy was transported from MDC in the cover of darkness at about 10 p.m. on January 30th. He was taken to a Brooklyn hospital for an MRI after reporting issues with his knee.
Industry is no longer basking in the spotlight, but instead under the harsh fluorescent lights of a federal lockup. The walls of MDC, known for their grim reputation, have already started to take a toll on the mogul, but this latest twist in the case is enough to make jaws drop. Federal agents stormed his cell, searching for incriminating evidence that could tip the balance of his already fragile legal battle. Diddy's been at MDC for months, but last week, he was unexpectedly transferred to a Brooklyn hospital for an MRI after reporting neck issues. Reports from the New York Post reveal he was taken around 10 p.m. on January 30th. The timing of the raid appears deliberate. Under the cover of darkness, when most prisoners are confined to their cells, authorities descended upon Diddy's quarters. What they were looking for and what they found are now the subject of intense speculation. Sources suggest that the raid was triggered by an informant within the prison, possibly someone who tipped authorities off that Diddy was hiding something more explosive than just contraband or luxury items.
Legitimate concern. No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day. Oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes, and sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle monitor.
Items. Among the items seized were reportedly handwritten notes and documents, which prosecutors are now calling a roadmap to obstruction. The papers supposedly contained names of witnesses, insiders, and former associates, some with chilling annotations that insiders describe as instructions. Could these notes have been an attempt to silence potential witnesses through bribery, coercion, or worse? This is the question at the heart of the case. Diddy's legal team is pushing back, calling the search a blatant violation of their clients' rights. Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's lead attorney, has said the entire operation reeks of government overreach. He accuses authorities of trying to demonize Diddy and prejudicing public opinion against him. They vow to fight the admissibility of the evidence in court, even as prosecutors argue that the contents of the notes confirm Diddy's ongoing threat to the justice system. Federal prosecutors insist that releasing Diddy on bail would be far too dangerous, citing his vast resources and influence. Inside MDC, the atmosphere is tense, with rumors swirling among inmates and whispers among guards. Diddy, once commanding the world's attention with his charisma and wealth, now finds his every move under scrutiny. His high-profile presence has stirred friction within the facility, leading to speculations about jealousy, envy, and perceived preferential treatment. Diddy's time in lockup has been anything but peaceful. Reports of the appalling conditions at MDC are also fueling the fire. The detention center has earned a reputation for being a grim and unforgiving environment. Inmates describe the cramped cells, substandard food, and a general sense of hostility. For someone like Diddy, who spent his life surrounded by luxury, the adjustment has been severe. Observers have noted that he appears visibly thinner and more aged in his recent court appearances, a stark contrast to the polished image he once maintained.
By everything, they're going to try to transfer him, they're going to try to get him out. In a normal case where it's a high-profile person or a well-funded person, the prosecution and the judge is a little bit more concerned about wrongful prosecution, because people that are mad that they're being arrested for a crime they didn't commit can turn around and file for malicious prosecution.
There are also concerns about his safety. MDC is notorious for being one of the most volatile detention centers in the country, where violence among inmates is not uncommon. The facility has also been criticized for its lack of adequate staffing and oversight. Diddy's lawyers argue that his high-profile status makes him a prime target for trouble, with one attorney stating, "Everyone knows who he is, and that makes him uniquely vulnerable." Reports even suggest that Diddy has been refusing the prison's meals out of fear they might be tampered with, a claim that underscores how dire his situation might be. The raid has also brought attention to the broader conditions at MDC and the harsh realities of the American federal prison system. Over the years, the facility has been the subject of numerous exposes revealing issues ranging from inadequate medical care to outright brutality. Diddy's legal team is highlighting these problems, arguing that keeping him in such conditions is not only inhumane but also detrimental to his ability to prepare for trial. The timing of the raid raises questions. Why now, just months before Diddy's trial? Some insiders believe it's a calculated move to keep Diddy on the defense.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there,
forcing his legal team to fight battles on multiple fronts. Others speculate that new developments, like the emergence of a key witness or a fresh lead, might have triggered the authorities' decision to dig deeper. Diddy's legal team is fighting tooth and nail to secure his release, calling the detention center an inappropriate and unsafe environment for someone of his status. But the debate over whether he deserves special treatment rages on. Some argue that with his vast wealth and influence, Diddy should be allowed to serve under house arrest. Others believe this would set a dangerous precedent. As Diddy's trial looms, the stakes could not be higher. Every discovery, every twist in the case, adds more tension to the already high-profile legal battle. Federal prosecutors are doubling down, presenting Diddy as a man who will go to any lengths to protect himself even if it means targeting those who might testify against him. They argue that the documents uncovered during the raid are proof that Diddy poses a serious risk to the integrity of the trial. His resources.
Every jail is bad, and some jails are worse than others. And the problem, again, is if you move him, why is he getting special treatment? And maybe he's earned special treatment. Maybe what he's done, maybe he's given so much back to his fans and to the world and to charity that maybe there's a way that it plays out in the end. But again, to go into court and say this jail is bad, move him to another jail, is not your first argument. That's sort of the...
Meanwhile, behind bars, Diddy's situation continues to evolve. Tensions with other inmates persist, and rumors swirl about alliances and rivalries forming within the prison. His refusal to eat the prison meals fuels speculation about paranoia, but others believe he has good reason to be cautious. In a volatile place like MDC, anything can happen. This case has already sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, with many wondering whether Diddy's downfall will expose links to other high-profile figures. Could the raid uncover secrets that implicate others? If the notes found in Diddy's cell are deemed admissible in court, they could open a Pandora's box of connections and allegations extending far beyond the mogul himself. For now, Diddy remains locked up, facing a battle for his freedom, reputation, and...
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
It looks like you're sharing an in-depth narrative about Diddy's, Sean Combs' legal troubles, including his recent experiences while incarcerated and the potential implications of a raid at his detention center. The story outlines various allegations against him, his attempts to fight the charges,
not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
No one wants him mentioned.
harsh conditions at the detention facility, and questions surrounding his involvement in manipulating witnesses or using leverage to protect himself. There's a dramatic focus on the legal strategy, tension within the prison, and speculations about how far his influence might extend. This case is characterized by multiple layers of intrigue, Diddy's legal battle, his facing serious charges, and much of the narrative revolves around the high-stakes nature of his trial, with prosecutors arguing that he's a significant threat to the justice system due to his wealth, influence, and resources. His legal team, however, argues that he's being unfairly targeted, and they challenge the evidence used against him. Prison life. Diddy's life inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, has reportedly been difficult. His legal team highlights the adverse conditions in the facility, including overcrowding, poor food, and lack of privacy, which make it hard for him to prepare for his trial. Additionally, there are whispers that Diddy is worried about his safety in prison, particularly because of his celebrity status. The raid, a pivotal event, is the raid on his prison cell. Authorities are said to have found forbidden evidence, including handwritten notes that allegedly show Diddy.
He will be sued, and I say will be because nothing has been filed yet, by at least 120 people in the next 30 days.
Planning to silence witnesses. This discovery fuels concerns that Diddy might be manipulating the justice system or intimidating those who could testify against him. Public image and manipulation. There's a narrative about how Diddy's team is trying to control public perception, including pushing back on the idea that the government is leaking negative information about him. The raid, coupled with accusations from his ex-partner Cassie about abuse, only adds to the tension speculation about other celebrities. Another thread in the narrative is the suggestion that Diddy may have dirt on other high-profile figures from his years in the entertainment industry. If true, these secrets could be used as leverage to protect himself, creating an even more dramatic conflict. What's at stake? Personal freedom. Diddy's ability to stay out of jail or face a prolonged prison sentence depends on how these allegations play out in court. His legal team is working tirelessly to keep him out of jail before his trial, while prosecutors argue that his release could jeopardize the case and pose a risk to witnesses' reputation and
understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on watch.
Or as someone who abused his power to intimidate others' financial impact. As a wealthy and influential figure, Diddy's case could have broader implications for how the justice system treats high-profile individuals with significant resources. His legal battle could set a precedent for others in similar situations. The narrative around Diddy right now is one of mounting tension and uncertainty. It's not just about his legal case, but about the broader implications of power, influence.
I thought Diddy would be throwing all his celebrity mates under the bus.
I mean, that could potentially be coming when it's time for court and when it's time for him to testify. But what we're seeing right now is how important public relations really are to Sean Combs. He's desperately trying to control the narrative behind bars, allowing his attorneys to do
and manipulation in the entertainment industry. As things unfold, the stakes will continue to rise, making this not only a legal drama but a cultural one that could have lasting effects on Diddy's legacy. The situation surrounding Diddy's, Sean Combs' legal and personal troubles is quite complex and multifaceted, involving multiple layers of tension, conflict, and speculation. Let's break it down further. Legal trouble. Diddy's legal battles are at the forefront of the story. He is facing serious criminal charges, and there seems to be a concerted...
what his team is trying to do is get the public to assume that the government is leaking some of this negative information about him, like that Cassie video. But the reality is, he's got a lot of enemies.
Effort by prosecutors to portray him as a major threat to the justice system. They argue that his wealth, power, and influence allow him to potentially manipulate the proceedings and intimidate witnesses. These charges appear to go beyond just the alleged crime he is facing. There's also an underlying narrative about him using his influence to subvert justice. At the same time, Diddy's defense team claims that he is being unfairly targeted, and they argue that the evidence against him is weak or manufactured. They focus on the fact that he has been incarcerated in harsh conditions, which they argue could make it difficult for him to adequately prepare for his trial. The prosecution's strategy hinges on portraying him as dangerous and influential, while the defense paints him as a victim of a broken system. Life in prison. The conditions Diddy faces in prison are another key element of this narrative. He's being held in the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, and sources claim that the conditions are harsh, with overcrowding, poor food, and a lack of privacy. As a well-known public figure, this would be a particularly challenging experience for him. There's also speculation that Diddy is worried about his safety within the prison, given his high-profile status. This could be a concern because inmates often target well-known figures, and Diddy is someone who has made a lot of enemies.
This is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
During his career in the context of prison, Diddy's legal team argues that the harsh environment makes it difficult for him to focus on his case and prepare adequately. In particular, the raid on his cell by prison authorities, allegedly uncovering incriminating evidence, adds a layer of complexity to his defense. This raid is said to have turned up handwritten notes or other forms of evidence suggesting that Diddy might have been planning to manipulate or intimidate witnesses. The raid and allegations of witness tampering. The raid on Diddy's prison cell is a turning point in the story. Authorities claim that the raid uncovered documents that could link Diddy to witness tampering or other forms of interference with the case. This is a significant development because witness tampering is a serious charge in criminal cases, and it suggests that Diddy might have been attempting to control the narrative or sway the outcome of the trial.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. How long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years?
The allegations of witness tampering bring into question whether Diddy has been using his influence from behind bars to manipulate the case in his favor. The discovery of evidence linking him to these actions, if proven true, would dramatically